What do you like about gardening?
Well, I like the flowers and the fruits and the things that come out of the gardening. Also, it's kind of fun just watching things grow.
I love gardening. Some people might say I'm a little obsessed. My all-time favorite thing about gardening is taking trash and turning it into treasure. For instance, if I eat a banana so that I get potassium, I can then take the banana peel and instead of throwing it away, I put it in a jar and soak it in hot water for a while. And what happens is the potassium from the peels leach into that water, and then later I can use that water to water my vegetables that need potassium. So that way I'm taking my trash, feeding the vegetables the nutrients they need, and they in turn will feed me the nutrients I need. Using food scraps and other things as a natural fertilizer also means I'm not having to use chemical fertilizers, which are bad for the earth and also bad for the consumer.
I recycle all my dirt and all my mulch. Water, actually, if you have good soil, it takes less water, and mulch holds the water better than poor soils where the water runs right through it.
How long have you had a worm bin?
Oh, I can't remember not having a worm bin.
Are worms good for composting?
Yes. Worms break down all the scraps and stuff like that into good soil. Worm bin's about ready to be scrapped and a new one made because the wood's rotting. When I'm interchanging the soil, I mix this in with the mulch to make new soil. So yeah, this gets recycled around through.
The city had a whole program promoting people developing rain gardens, and while we missed that program, we saw a lot of our neighbors get rain gardens. And the thing that's so appealing about it is not only does it provide the water retention on site so it doesn't flow into the larger system, but for those of us that like to garden, I've got all this color and all this added space that I have another little miniature garden. The nice thing about the rain gardens is that you could do it yourself. If you can't get a grant, like we missed out on the grant program, then there's lots of companies that make it their business to install rain gardens because they're somewhat technical.
This last year we planted a bunch of native species to reduce water usage. Because they're native species, they're already used to our climate, so we don't have to give them excess water. We also recently installed a drip irrigation system.
It's just a little drip system with a single pipe and a bunch of lines. It means that I don't have to babysit the water, and it's pretty much just put where the plants need it.
The water drips out of the hose and waters the base of the plants, and it cuts down on water usage and water evaporation loss from normal hoses. When we redid our garden, we tried to use all reclaimed materials. Our neighbors were busting up their driveway, so we took their concrete and used that to create the walls of our raised garden beds. When we put in a terraced patio in our backyard, we reused flagstone that other neighbor was getting rid of. We also recycle our rabbit manure, which might sound gross, but there's a lot of nitrogen in the manure that's great for the plants, and that saves us having to use chemical fertilizers.
Sustainable gardens are ones that are healthy, most well adapted to this environment, are more likely to succeed than gardens that aren't. And I think it's the job of all of us to take care of the environment for our generation, future generations, as well as for all the animals and plants that we share this world with, that we shouldn't have sort of dominion over them. And so I think we have a personal responsibility to have a relatively light footprint on this earth.